What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Penn State men's basketball. The season starts tomorrow. Their first game is against Drexel. In today's video, I'm just going to be previewing all things Penn State men's basketball. I'm a huge college basketball fan. I basically went to all the Penn State men's basketball game last year, so I love following the team. So yeah, I'm just going to be previewing the schedule and the team for you guys today and the outlook of how we're going to perform. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe for some more Penn State content because I'm always producing it. The first game is against Drexel November 25th. Their next game on the season is Saturday, November 28th against Virginia Military Institute. Then they go down and play VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, on December 2nd. The biggest game on their schedule is against Seton Hall University, the Big East school, on December 6th. That's on a Sunday. And then they have the ACC Big Ten Challenge, which is against Virginia Tech on December 8th. And then after that, they get into Big Ten play, starting with Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana. And Indiana is the last game in December. So yeah, let's talk about the team last year. Went 21-10. We were supposed to make March Madness. Would have been the first March Madness appearance since 2011. So it was disappointing to see him go on the huge run and then obviously not make it because of COVID-19. But thankfully this season, I think the outlook is still promising. People are overlooking Penn State more than I think they should. The biggest reason why Penn State isn't highly ranked this year is because we lost Lamar Stevens. We all know Lamar Stevens. I got his jersey shirt right there. One of the all-time greatest in Penn State history. He fell, I think it was 6 or 7 points shy of passing Taylor Battle. He would have passed it if we had the Big Ten tournament and if he played in March Madness, but sadly he did not. But alongside Lamar Stevens, we also lost Mike Watkins. He was our big guy. We lost Curtis Jones Jr., who was a transfer guard from Oklahoma State. But all three of those players will surely be missed. And Lamar was literally the focal point of our offense. We ran our offense through him. And the thing about Mike is I really liked Mike, but he kind of got in his own way a lot last year. He took some poor shots. Overall, Mike struggled throughout the season. There was games where he played outstanding. He played defense, he could rebound, he could score. It seemed like when Mike came into the game focused, he was unstoppable. Like when he was focused, we could not lose. We relied a lot on Mike playing well. And if Mike didn't play well, that's when we lost our games. Because he was literally the only big guy we have other than the other guy I'm going to talk about is John Harrar. So we saw Mike started throughout the season and then Chambers decided to start Harrar over Watkins because Harrar is more fundamentally sound player than Watkins is. Watkins makes a lot of mistakes. I know Watkins is more athletic, he's more of a scorer, but John, on the other hand, he's only going to take a shot if it's a layup or a dunk. John's not taking an outside jumper. John's not taking dumb shots, which is one of the reasons why he's a better player than Watkins because he's more smart. And John's not as athletic as Mike, so he's not going to go up and make a block. He's not going to make a crazy play like Mike would. John gets it done. He gets it done. And I know Chambers isn't here anymore. I want to talk about too. It's unfortunate that Pat Chambers had to resign this year. None of us, but Jim Ferry is going to take over his position this year as the head coach. But Penn State basketball in general, on the defensive side of the ball, we focus on being physical and getting to your grill and just like the man-to-man mentality of team defense. That's what Chambers did last year. And losing Mike and Lamar, it's going to hurt because those were two big bodies who could be physical in the paint. And this year we just have John. And we do have a backup freshman. I want to talk about him a little bit. So like I was saying, we had those big bodies last year in Mike and Lamar. Now Lamar's obviously he signed a 2-way deal with the Cavaliers, so shout out to him for doing that. That's big time. John will be our starting center this year, standing at 6'9", weighing 240, so he is a big body. He can play defense. I was really impressed with how his pick and roll defense improved throughout the year last year too. I think his name's Abdou Tsimbila. I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but he is a freshman 3-star forward. He's 6'8", weighing 235, out of Cameroon. So he's going to be interesting. He's definitely going to get playing time because he's our only other big other than John Harrar. We also have Trent Buttrick, but he's a walk-on senior. So he got some playing time last year, but he's not the greatest. One of the reasons why I don't think we'll be as bad as people are thinking is because we return basically everyone. We are losing Mike, we're losing Lamar. The only impact it's going to have is on depth because now we just have John and we have the freshman 3-star coming in. So John's going to have to step up. I think John was the better big fundamentally last year, and he did better for us in the end of the season last year. And unfortunately for Mike, he actually missed the last game of the season against Northwestern because he had a DUI. So there were some discipline issues with Watkins, which is another reason why John was a starter. The biggest thing is why people are doubting us is because we lost Lamar Stevens. It was like Lamar Stevens is our offense. Lamar Stevens is our team. He is our team. But I also want to talk about some other players that are returning that people are forgetting about. First off, the first player I want to talk about who's probably going to lead the team in scoring this year is Myreon Jones. Now, not many people may know his name because he was out with an illness. I don't know exactly what it was. During the period of time when we were ranked highly and we were getting all the praise that Penn State's now a basketball school, and Myreon Jones wasn't there. Now I want to keep this in consideration. Myreon Jones was an important factor of why we started to become ranked and when we started getting noticed. He was second on the team in scoring behind Lamar Stevens. He had 13.3 points per game. But his 3-point percentage was outstanding. It was 40.3. He had tons of assists. He was the leading scorer in December games, averaging around 17 points. So he was scoring a lot for us. The one big game he had was against Michigan State when we upset Michigan State at Michigan State. Yeah, against Michigan State, he went off and had a career 6 3-pointers for 20 points, made the statement against number 16 Michigan State, and after that win, that built up our resume of why Penn State is considered a basketball school this season. So Myreon Jones should not be overlooked. He does have a funky jumper. It's kind of I don't know how to describe it, but it's pure and it goes in. And he's one of the best 3-point shooters on the team. And Penn State's going to have to use that this season because now they don't have Lamar, they don't have Mike. Penn State's offense last year was based on post and interior play where Lamar, whether you're posting up Lamar or you're posting up Mike, that's basically where our offense was focused around. And if there wasn't a shot, then we would kick out to a 3-point shooter in Myreon Jones or Myles Dredd. Now this year with John, he's not an interior scorer, so we're going to have to do some more perimeter scoring. So how do we complement that? We return Myles Dredd, we return Myreon Jones, our 2 best 3-point shooters. We have Jamari Wheeler, who's going to be the captain of this team. Defensive presence, very athletic. And the other starter we return is Seth Lundy. Now Seth Lundy did see some starts last year because Myles Dredd was struggling for a bit. Seth Lundy is identical, but not the same to Lamar Stevens. They both went to Roman Catholic. They both have the same. Seth's a little smaller, but Seth's more of a shooter than what Lamar is. So if Seth can work on his driving, I see him potentially filling the gap with Lamar. He's not going to fill it completely, but Seth said that he wants to fill Lamar's gap. He wants to take Lamar's shoes, and the players on the team are looking at him. He had last season, Seth Lundy learned from Lamar, and that's what the season was last year for Seth, was to learn from Lamar, learn how he plays, adapt his game so he can score from more aspects, not just from the 3. So Seth Lundy is going to be a great factor for Penn State's offense this year. So the starting roster is going to be here. It's going to be John Harrar, Seth Lundy, Myles Dredd, Myreon Jones, and Jamari Wheeler. So that's a solid roster. All 5 of them have started a game last year, so they have the experience. It is there. The only factor we're missing is Lamar Stevens. Now, coming off the bench, like I was saying, we're going to have to score more from the perimeter. I see Penn State's defense taking a decline this year just because we lost Lamar and Mike, but we're still going to have the physicality. The defense is still going to be there. It's just not going to be as strong as it was last season. So since our defense is going to be lacking, we need some more factors on the offensive side of the ball to score. Shout out to Pat Chambers. I know he's not with us anymore, but this recruiting class is pretty solid. We have Dalian Johnson, the freshman guard out of Massachusetts. From what I've heard, he's been very impressive at practice. He's a 6'3" guard. He's a shooter, very athletic, quick handle. I've been impressed with him from watching his high school highlights. And the other freshman guard we have is DJ Gordon. Now, I haven't watched much film of Gordon, but he should see some minutes for Penn State this season. And the other guard that is also very impressive is the transfer from Binghamton, New York, Sam Sessoms. He averaged 23 points per game last season, but still, nonetheless, scoring 23 points and 1,000 points in 2 seasons for a D1 college, very impressive. So we have him now. I feel like we have more depth on the guard side. We're lacking the depth for center and forwards, but we have the depth for guard play. And I know it's a young team, but with the depth in the guards, we have the experienced guards and we have the young guards. And I feel like as a whole, we're going to be able to score a lot. We're going to be scoring a lot of points in our games this year. In my opinion, we might be scoring more points in our games this year than we did last year just because we have so many people who can score. And that's the nice thing. So when people get in slumps too, we have people off the bench who can provide. Some other players I see providing off the bench too are Caleb Dorsey, the stretch big out of the Hill School. I know personally some people who played at the Hill School with Dorsey, and they said that that they're really impressed by him, that Dorsey can improve. He can shoot it. He plays like a guard, but he stands at 6'7", so he could be a good backup off the bench for Lundy. We also have Patrick Kelly, the redshirt freshman from last year, who's out of IMG Academy. I haven't seen him play at all either, but from what I've heard, he's another great stretch big. He can slam it, he's athletic, and he can shoot it, just like Caleb Dorsey. So we have the pieces. I see our roster going as deep as 10 people. I feel like we have a decent amount of players who go out there and provide for this team. And don't forget about Izaiah Brockington. I haven't mentioned his game yet, but he was like our 6th man of the year last year. He came off, scored a lot of points last year. There were games where he bursted and was there, and he was clutch for us. And he had some insane dunks too, the lefty. He's probably the best driver on the team. He's very explosive, has a really good first step, and when he's on the left side of the rim, he's not missing. Like, his finishing capabilities are so good on the left side of the rim. Literally, Brockington comes off the bench just like that. He'll come off like 3-4 minutes when the game starts. He had his career best 23 points against Iowa. Remember that game against Iowa in the Palestra? Sold out crowd. And Iowa has Luka Garza, who's the best big man in the nation this year. And we were able to beat them in an impressive game. That was another game last year where Penn State really showed that we are a top dog team in this Big Ten. So in the end, I see Penn State possibly being a 500 team. Looking at our non-conference schedule, I think we can go 4-1 at best. I don't think we can compete with Seton Hall just because the Big East play is so competitive and Seton Hall is a solid team. I see us beating Drexel easily by 20. We're 6-0 against Drexel all time, so we should beat them tomorrow or November 25th, whenever you're watching this. Overall, I think this is my final take for Penn State this season. I think we're going to be just above 500. I think we're going to be better than what people are anticipating. I think using all of our guards and our depth, I think we have more depth than last year. Just we're lacking that leadership. So someone's going to have to stand up and be the leader for this team since we don't have a leader. Now, I see that player possibly being Jamari Wheeler. I feel like Jamari Wheeler is a very vocal guy, and he seems to be talking a lot, and he seems to be encouraging the guys on the team. Now, obviously, Lamar won't be doing that this year because we don't have him, but I do see Jamari Wheeler filling the shoes, and possibly even Seth Lundy, because Seth Lundy said that he wants to fill those shoes of Lamar Stevens. Looking at the season in general, I think this is going to be an entertaining and interesting season to watch with Penn State just because of COVID. There's so many questions. Like, it's so hard to predict how the season is going to go. So Penn State could very well be competing for the Big Ten this season. I think, like, we're very underrated. This is just my opinion. I think we're very underrated, and if we are able to play as a collective group, we're going to be hard to beat. And it's going to rely a lot on John Harrar. But John Harrar is going to have a chip on his shoulder and be like, the team's going to rely a lot on me because we have the guard play. It's just the forward and the center positions where we lack. Because if John doesn't play well, we're not going to be able to stop anyone in the inside. And John's going to have to work on boxing out and getting boards. This team's going to have to collectively rebound as a group if we want to win games. Because John's not going to be able to do it by himself, only staying at 6'9". And the next up big is 6'7". We're going to be playing teams who probably have multiple 7', 6'8", 6'9" guys starting. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. That's Penn State men's basketball season preview. I'm really looking forward to the season this year. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about Penn State men's basketball or just Big Ten basketball in general. Who you think is going to win the Big Ten? Who you think is going to win Big Ten Player of the Year? Probably going to be Luka Garza. But yeah, let me know just anything college basketball related, drop in the comments. I love talking college basketball. But yeah, thank you for watching.